Okay, we are paper macheing now. I'm giving a demonstration to the class. You'll see some of your classmates. If this is a long video, you might see some people that you used to know. Anyway, so I've got the structure of my turkey head here. This is going to be a full head mask. And if you do a frontal mask, you're just going to be paper macheing flat. And we've got newspaper and we've got some glue mixed up. This is just a wheat paste or wallpaper paste can work as well. If you don't have any of that, you can use a little bit of flour mixed in, and I like to put in a little bit of Elmer's glue with that just to help it get sticky. You can mix it up to kind of a snotty composition, a runny snot composition. That's gross, but it's memorable. So here's a newspaper. The newspaper is full of fibers that do this. The idea is we're gonna fill those fibers with glue, and they're gonna do that. And then when they dry, the glue's gonna come out and they're gonna be glued together. So, ripping the newspaper. There is a grain to newspaper. So if you hold the newspaper up and you rip it like that, you're probably ripping with the grain. If you hold it up and you try to rip it like this and it does that, you're not ripping with the grain. So typically, if you hold it up this way, you can rip strips about like that, and that's a pretty good size. You want probably from 1 inch to 2 inches for your basic paper macheing. When you get towards the details, you're gonna want smaller strips, and I might show that in a little bit. Now, I don't want the corners, so I'm gonna just throw those away. And I don't want the ends on this. So this is the fold of the newspaper. Just gonna rip that off, and that's bent a little bit. But as you rip these, you probably want to put them in a little stack so they're handy and you don't get in anybody else's way if someone else is working beside you. This one is kind of really crooked. Sometimes that makes them easier to grab. So here we go. So there's 2 ways to put glue on the strip, and we want to put glue completely on both sides of the strip. This is the most obvious way. That's a lot of glue. That's too much glue, okay? So we're gonna take that and just over the bucket, okay, so we don't drip it all over the table, and just get the extra glue off, wipe it off from our hands, and then go over here and just put it on smoothly. Now, if the entire strip is wet, that means the paper is more flexible. It's gonna bend and stretch, and it's gonna go into little grooves, and it won't buckle up on you. Here's the other way to put glue on your strip. If you've already got glue on your hands, which I just did because I dunked it in the bucket, you can kind of go like that. It's not quite so messy. Extra glue on the bucket. Now I'm going to overlap about halfway, and I'm going to take a couple extra seconds and just smooth it down. Now, if you're doing a round shape, narrower strips might work better, but you want to make sure that you get the glue, the strip nice and wet with glue, because like I said, it's going to make it flexible. So you have more strength if you overlap them, and that ties all the strips together. Now, let's imagine that I did this whole top like that. Then, I don't need to let it dry. I can just start, for extra strength, I can just start going the other way. So now I would go this way, and maybe go all the way down like that. Excuse me. So, once you get most of the basics done, so let's say I'm doing over here, then you can take and do little strips if you have details. So if I had a strip about like that, that's a lot smaller. That's going to be able to be bent and gone like in this little crease right here. That little strip flexes a lot more. That's a lot easier to work that into a crease or a detail, wrinkle in a nose, something like that. So like right here, I want in the way that you, so I don't know if you see that, there's a little bit of a ridge right there. And whatever you see when you put it on there and it dries, that's the way it's gonna dry. It's gonna dry in that shape. So I want that ridge. So I'm gonna take some of these little pieces and I'm gonna push that down so that I have that, so I can see that ridge. I might be able to even fold it down like, yep. Now, you can see right there that's not wanting to stay down, so I'm gonna take another little piece, and you can rip them as you glue them, and I'm gonna make sure that stays down like that. Now that ridge is there. That ridge is gonna stay there, it's gonna dry there. This paper mache, once it's dry, if there's enough layers, you can beat it like a drum and it doesn't dent in. Okay, now, a couple of things as far as working alongside someone. Those of you at home watching the video, you probably don't have to worry about this. Those of you here in the classroom, you definitely do. So you can see I have lovely hands covered with snotty glue. Some of you, that will disturb you a little bit. It is kind of nice to be messy. But after you dip your strip in and you put your strip on here and you get it right where you want it, and you notice you got glue on your hand, do not do this. Now I'm gonna do this in slow motion, because if I don't do it in slow motion, bad things are gonna happen. Don't do this. Oh, gross. And try to fling it off your hands. Because where's it gonna go? Everywhere, okay? In the same way, don't slam a strip down and go off up here, okay? Now, if you have a lab coat, this is something that's okay to do, okay? It's not okay if you're wearing a shirt that you want to wear again, okay? Because even though this is water-based, and if somebody does accidentally, because it's kind of a reflex, if they go, oh, gross, and they shake it off and it goes on your shirt, it will come off with water and soap if you get it before it dries. I have some shirts that I didn't notice, and I had a little, literally, it looked like a booger of this glue on the bottom of my sleeve, and it dried that way. And it went through the washer, the dryer, everything. It's still there. So now I have a dried booger on that shirt. I just have to remember that and not wear it to anywhere special, I guess. Or they'll think I'm really special, okay? Questions about anything? All right. Now, if you are doing a frontal mask, you're gonna completely cover both sides with this, all the edges through the eye holes, and then we're gonna push it, like, I'm gonna show you, if this was a frontal mask, I would take it, and it's gonna be all gooey, and I would just push like this, because that's getting little creases in the back of it, and that's gonna help me curve it. See how that starts to curve it? Once I get it curved, I'm gonna take it over and put it on the big plastic tubes and tie it like that, so it dries like that overnight. Once it's dry, then it holds that shape, okay? And we're good to go, all right? Questions? Okay, go ahead, Neil.